Hello, everybody. So, today I'm going to do something a little bit different that I typically don't do. Usually, whenever I want to do my translation sessions on here, so we're essentially going to this book right here. I just thought that the dialogues in this book were pretty good. They were pretty conducive to learning something because at the end of the course, I mean, you can see it for yourself. If you're looking at if you're looking at like the last unit or some of the last units, like you're able to see that you are going to be able to make you know, pretty nice, substantial sentences, you know, and pretty much like most, if not all, of these terms exist in Tuscarora in some form, even if you have to create new stuff like the ministry of this and all that. If you have to talk about all these different things, that's going to be a little bit difficult. But we already have a dialogue with with the ministry in it because Tuscarora has a word for ministry. So, with that said, this is the course I've been translating, not the entirety, just the dialogues. So, I'm going to be putting this together today for lesson 17 and units 17 Tuscarora. Um, Disregard this unit because that's not the unit I'm using for this course that I'm making. But yeah, I'm just putting this together, so as it will take some time to get ready. It will be about 15 minutes. You'll have to wait, yeah. You'll have to wait about 15 minutes. And then the next one, that's alright, we're not in a hurry. Usually I try to put the Tuscarora on the beginning line so it's at the top, kind of like if you go to a different country and you see the main language on the top and English on the bottom. Kind of what I want to do here as well. Next line. Then what kind of drink shall I bring you? What kind? Well, that's a good idea. What kinds of drinks do you have? And since we already asked a lot of this in the last dialogue, we can actually use some of that, reuse some of that stuff. Would you like imported or local drinks? As far as how you might say imported drinks, I'm not sure. You might have to use anette, which is like exterior. What kind of local drinks do you have? The server says we have wine, beer. Rocky is, I guess it's Rakı. It's like what, some kind of Turkish liquor or something. I'm not exactly sure. Mead and local beer. Mead. I don't think people drink mead anymore, really. Not over here. All right. We can say in local beer. We'll just translate liquor, and then that'll be easier. And then we'll go back to this one. Bring a bottle of beer for me. let's say a glass of wine just to keep it different. Whenever it comes to these like concepts where it's, I'm not gonna, it would just be like unproductive to try to make a new word in Tuscarora for it. I just take it out of the dialogue, because it's like, you might talk about mead, but if I were going to talk about mead in Tuscarora, I would want to actually know enough of the language to be able to describe it to another Tuscarora speaker, or to be able to describe it in Tuscarora. I mean, you could probably make like a long noun for it based on like a descriptive verb phrase that tells the speaker what what mead is. But I don't even exactly. I think it's a kind of porridge drink. I've had similar things in Mexico from well, I forget what it's called. It's not mostly, I don't know, but okay. Just water. Okay. I don't want you to bring me any wine. Say the whole thing and then get that extra practice. And then we'll do C, since that's not a character that's been played in this yet. Just okay. All right. Okay. Check please. How much shall I pay you? Something, I don't know. Owe you, pay you, something. $5.50. Okay, $5.50. That'll probably be the easiest line to translate. You have change for $50. Do you have change for $50? Yes. Alright, I'll go ahead. This one, I already know. Nahues. Nahues Kuya. And I'm not sure exactly how to say change. Okay. So typically, just so the session doesn't air out. So generally what I will do in a dialogue like this is I will get all of the English and I'll put it on a different line, and then I'll put the target language on the top, and usually I will have the dictionary that I have, because the dictionary, as you can see, is extremely useful. It's the number one authoritative source in Tuscarora. And then there's also this grammar as well by Mattoon. The same ones I always quote. And you can usually look things up in here, like if you're looking for a specific thing, like if you want to look for my elder sister, which is right here on this page. You can see it on this page. They don't always come up, but yeah. So elder sister, it still comes up here. So usually I'll look up whatever I'm trying to find. There's sometimes things in situations where you might try to look for something that you need, like, expressing location or doing comparatives, where you need the word than, which there's no word for than in Tuscarora as far as I know. There's also a lot of things that got lost, like how aruch is the word for if, and it never made it to the dictionary, as far as I know. And I can try and, see if I can find that in here, but the last I checked, I didn't see that. And then sometimes you end up finding things that later on, will it'll basically be the same grammatical concept as what you need. Whenever I was trying to translate, there was like a concept I was trying to translate. It was like not size. It was like I was looking for like how to express like the plural, and then I found 10 different suffixes for how and many, and one of them ended up looking at the plural. And sometimes you have to look at the examples and see what corresponds the most to what you're trying to do. Sometimes you may have you may have a word for difficulty and not the word for difficult. Like they have the word for difficult. I've seen it. But I'm just saying, if you were looking at this word here for difficulty and you can't find the word for difficult, but you know that the last root means it's got an adjectival meaning on there, then you can usually take that off if you know that's a suffix that changes it into an adjective or something that makes it an adjective, and then you can use the base form for the word. That's usually what I do if I can't find something. But usually, most of the time, Tuscarora has the stuff that I need. Okay, so when I look at a phrase like this, as it will take some time to get ready, I usually try to break this up into an English style morpheme by morpheme breakdown or root by root breakdown, so that whenever I go back to translating Tuscarora, it makes more sense to me. After a while, I don't have to do this, but for other people, you might do as. You might do as will, or it will, or it take, it take time, will, all right, for it ready, will take some time, punctual, because it will, or actually, this will be perfective because it's going to be ready. Ready means the state that it's going to be done in, and then must is usually a different thing. But this is usually this will usually be something like, it usually will use will. Will you wait? Punctual. You will have to wait. Either punctual. Yeah, it'll be the punctual here. And then 15 minutes. This is generally the type of thing, whenever you're working with agglutinative languages, you will have to think of it like this. Because it's going to be because these languages are built so differently than your regular European languages, so you kind of have to think of it in a whole different way. Kind of like if you've ever studied Turkish before, you may have added on, built on different, or the stacking is the word I'm looking for. Yeah, you would have to stack on different suffixes at the end to build a meaning in the sentence, something that corresponds to that. So, and this one would just be there's a phrase that means all right, what wekayeri. I'm pretty sure you can use that for this. I would just have to look up. I always have to look up the diacritics because I haven't studied it yet because I'm so focused on just getting the stuff. Wekayeri, and then this would be we. Or it'd be not, we hurry, or rush. This would be perfective. So something like that. And then, I'm pretty sure then this Hesna, not exactly sure. And then tawa. And then whenever I know the word, then yeah, I'll put it in here. So tawate, or something like that. I always have to look it up again. Tawate, drink. Drink. And then this will be like I, or it'll be will, I, you, or I should, you know what, I'm gonna call this future, because that's what they call it in those books. I just put will because they make it seem, but yeah, it's just a future marker. So future, I, you, bring, dative, which is to, 4, and then should I bring you, and then punctual, meaning it's going to be a quick action and it's done. Could be perfective as well, but that's usually more for the state. It's not really referring to state here. And then, so for now, we're at a place now where we could look up in the meantime. You know, we could look up meantime in, say, here. Could look up meantime. Sometimes they have them, sometimes they don't. Looks like they do have it. So we do have that in the meantime. We actually do have something for this. So we hear during the meantime, as long as it lasts, during as long as it lasted. So tawa'u tiati. Okay, so you see that here? Tawa'u tiati. And then we also have another way to say it as well. So present and past. So in the meantime, present. In the meantime, you know, habitual, meaning I'm assuming this is something to do with habitual, meaning it's going to be going on. So we do have a word. We do actually have a word for in the meantime, which is great. That's going to make it a lot easier. And then this would be that. So this one is interesting. So you could say that this one, you could say it idea good, and then perfective or stative. What drink kind, because that's how they say those types of things. What drink kind you have, or you can say, you can say you have, which would be kuya. You could say yuya, which would mean are there here, like is it there, or are they there, sorry. So you have, and then you could even put a here right here, so they all know that you're talking about stuff that they have here. What kinds of drinks do you have here at this restaurant? Okay. And then this one, would you like, see, you can only really do this. So you have to say you, and then it would be want, which is literally reflexive. It's literally a reflexive plus want. And then you have the perfective on the end, because Ka'aneth Wiki, the E on Ka'aneth Wiki, I'm pretty sure is a perfective ending, because it describes a fleeting action, like you want this now, but you're not going to want it in 5 minutes, because once you get it, then your desire will be fulfilled. So you want perfective, and you can say imported, or something like it import perfective, something like this, referring to the fact that it was imported, unless there's a noun, or unless there's an adjective that already means imported. And then you can say, or it's always going to be something like that. And then you can honestly say, like, if there's a word for local, you can say local drink. Or you might end up doing something like a cislocative to say that the drink is here. It's right here. It's not far from us. So cislocative marker plus drink. And you can put noun. I'm gonna put indefinite cislocative drink noun. Yeah. So you can do something like this. And even if you do that, you're still gonna have to do indefinite. You're still gonna have to do an indefinite local drink, because unless they have a special noun for it, it has to follow these rules. Okay. And if you want to put, if you really want to put the plural marker on there to say drinks, you can put a hotline. I'm assuming you could put hotline after that, because it typically goes at the very end. But I leave that up to the people who are looking for this. So, and this would be something like it. Something like it has. You can say you or it has. It has plus punctual, and then again you can take this right here, local drink. Do you have? So what kinds of local drinks do you have? So now you can do it this way. Is there, I think it would make it a little bit more sense to say tawate here. Or I'm sorry, why am I using tawate? I'm supposed to be using te here. Sorry. So, yeah, indefinite plus noun. And since I don't even think, because this is being joined with the what kind, I don't even think you need down here. You could just put kind or type. So that would be ete. And then we have wine, beer. So this would just be we have, and you can put all of these different liquors inside of the same sentence if you want to do it. But for the sake of making it simpler for people who are learning this language or studying this language, especially with me, you could just say we have. And by the way, you have having in Tuscarora is also there is or there are. So we have. So that would be like something like Noaya, and then you could put wine, beer, liquor, and might as well put tisna here since we're gonna have to say that anyway. And then we got tisna, which means and then again local beer, the construction, and then bring back. Okay, so bring, or or I should say I bring dative, imperative because it's a command. Now you can put beer. You could put beer. You could put beer here. You can put beer right here, because beer bring. You can do beer bring, so it means bring me back a beer, or you can put beer here, and then you would do tisna again, tisna, because you're introducing a second clause, and glass wine. I'm assuming something like that there, and then this would pretty much be the same for this, because a glass of wine for her. There's not really a way to say for her, like, or even an emphatic pronoun for her, for she, that I know of. Glass of wine. Her. So she / her, bring back dative imperative. And then this is pretty much just, you can pretty much just literally say just water, please. So, yeah, literally just water, water Yahweh. Water Yahweh. You could do Iska, because Iska is gonna be Iska, Iska Karnith Wiki. I don't want for you to bring. So I don't want bring. So this husk is you to bring me, and then this gets that indefinite not habitual ending. Punctual, pretty sure it's like a punctual indefinite ending. You could say any line. And again, we got Wekairi again. And then the check please, so you could say check please. You could say something like Tequane. I have to go back and look. Tequane. Something like this. So Tequanic IUO. Money O. This might be perfective. And then this we thought the Kawi, yeah, the Kawi start. So we start. Or I'm pretty sure it's something like that. I gotta go back and check it. Kawi start Tisne. You can honestly do Wisk Tiwath. Wisk Tiwath, huh? Wask Tiwatha Quanis. Something like that. And do you have change? So in this one you can just straight up say, do you have Kuya change? Do you have say something like, do you have change $50? Do you have change? See, and when it comes to things like this, do you have change for $50? We don't really have a for. This is the one where you'd have to think about this. You would have to think about it for a little bit, which is why it takes me some time to come out with these dialogues sometimes, because I have to think about how to translate these types of scenarios. And I also have to go back and check all of this stuff as well, because sometimes I might have gotten like, you know, the wrong stress marked, or I might have used the wrong diacritic above the wrong letter, or sometimes the letter's supposed to be and I put it in as like an accented U, which would just be a long U sound. Because there are two slightly different spelling conventions. Like if you look in this book, they use this right here at the end of the word. So like ako. This usually refers to the E with the ogonek, which is like a Polish. It's a Polish letter originally, but it's usually a nasally sound. And so yeah, that's how I usually go through this. Now, if we're actually like looking at all the sources in translating this stuff here. Sometimes I go back into here and I look up like words that I know are going to be there. Like for example, with tawate, I know it's spelled. I know how to say it. Tawante. I know how to say it. But sometimes I gotta go and look up the word. But what kind of drink? But like I said, this is already wrong anyway because it's supposed to be the short form. So te drink. Yeah. And this you would actually get kind after this, so drink kind. So the word for drinking something in Tuscarora. Another drink. Iher. Okay, so we have Iher occurs elsewhere. Drink. Sir Kirha. Cheer. I drink. Kirha. He drinks. One will drink. You see this, and you see the word. Sometimes you get the one you need. So, P. So now we got the word for beer, which, like I said, it's not the line we're looking for right now, but. Stop, and then anywhere we see beer, we could put Pia in that location. They said they had beer. We have beer. Yep, so then you got that. One less word you have to do. Now with this one, gotta go look up. Drink as a verb. See, so you don't, you see that there's no standalone word for drinking. You just kind of have to, you kind of just have to make something. So causing a drink. You see this up here. Ihrot. Causing to drink is water. He waters the animals. Water to water. So if you want a noun for drink, because ir means water and drinking, then generally Yair Urha, they gave another much to drink. Yeah. So in this case, if you're talking about drinking, you would have to make a noun out of that. So there would be something like a and then you would need there's like a iher right here, and you can put an I with two dots. I don't have that in here, but and then it might even be something like, because they do this. You see this yair, one will drink. Ya. Ayir. So, Uyair, and then you have the word for kind, which, again, we can do what kind. And we just did that in the last one of the last dialogue, so we have the word for kind in here. So we can grab that out of here. So you see this ete, ante. You literally just can put this at the end of that, and then you have what kind. Okay, and then I need to go back to as up here. Because we need the English side now. And you can look through. You can usually look through this thing here, and you see as agonique. So if you really want to know what the difference between these are, you can go back to the side and look up all these words. As, and they all say as. They usually will tell you. And if you want to know like what they are, you can easily go back and look up each of these words, right? Kone. That's the one I used in one because it was shorter. So you could say something like as. You could say because as well. And there's also coin, a new one. So we could probably just say that just to. It will take some time. Okay, so I can already tell you that we're going to have because that's going to be the indefinite particle. Probably going to be young, the indefinite, and then take time. We have to look at this take time, and if we can't find it, we'll look for it in other ways. Take from, you take it down. And sometimes if you can't find a word that means something, you have to find something similar. Okay? So, take. You know, this is like he takes it away, he takes it down, take it off, take it out. So none of these, we even have take up space, but there's no way to say the kind that we need for the sentence here. So, no worries. We can look up spend. There is a word for spend the day, but that's not exactly what we're looking for here. So spend the day. And I've used that in this dialogue, so he spends it. He spends foolishly on it. You won't. Night spent so many nights. Okay. Can also look up take again and see if we can find take time or to elapse time. Like I said, sometimes you have to kind of just figure a way out to say, because I'm sure there is a way to express something that takes time, but it's not always easy to find these things. Like I said, I wanted to put this, I just wanted to do this session so you could see like what goes into translating a dialogue in this language, or really any of these languages. So you can look up time and try to get something with that. Old timers, olden times, first time. Past time. See? So this is one. This might be the best one we can find right now. Long time. Daytime, first time. Past time. And sometimes, so many days will pass. Past time. Ter. Okay, so we have that. That's what we have. We have past time. Past time is probably the closest we're going to get to this. Have time come to an end. Over time. And there's also particles like this that talk about actions that happen over time. But I think for the sake of this dialogue, passing time will be a little bit better. Passing time is ter. Yeah. So many days will pass. T ter. T ter. Pastime. Ter. Including T ter. That means so many days will pass. That T might mean. That T oftentimes means like it's a repeating action, I think, or chi. But it says teher. It says this means so many days. We're not trying to do so many days. Just ter. Now, this says uter. Okay, so uter. All right, so we'll do. This is a long U, right? U. Was this an extended vowel? No, it was the U that was actually an extended vowel. So a uter, okay? So, as it will take time, right? A uter. And if you really want to put Yahweh, cool. It will pass time, right? Time. So time will pass. Then. Now, we can just put a glottal stop right here too if we wanted to. But according to this example, we don't need to put anything. And then for it to be ready, so araya. We just go with araya, and then we can get rid of this for it. Now, ready to prepare something is achakost. Now, ready might be a little bit different because ready refers to the state of it being prepared. Actually, I was right. I was going to ready. I was going to R. Okay, looking for ready here. Yeah, so it actually is a whole different root. That's interesting. Okay. So this means, see, this is what I was saying. Acha cost to make ready, to get. It will take some time to get ready. He is ready to get ready. It will take time for it to get ready. Kanya. So, cha. So we're actually right there. Cha cost. Quest. Quest. Alright, so we'll probably use this. Make sure that was the right A. Yep. Quest. Araya Achaquast. And then again, you will wait. So this will be S. Wait is Hra. Sarhua. 15. Alright, and this is hold on, look up this. We'll look up this instead. Okay, here we go. Whisk Thakaher. Whisk. Whisk Thakaher. Okay, and then Thaka. Alright, this Tuscarora, and then we have Tuscarora, and then we just gotta look up minutes now for this other one here. Minute. Okay. Minute. Minute. Okay, manit. So manit, and then this most likely gonna be iska. You can obviously say te. You can say quens. You can, like just like how you can say quens. You can say quens akeri for I don't know, or you can say te akeri. And it's they're both the same thing as far as I am understanding. So now we need to look up the word for hurry. Look up the word for H. So we get H. Get that hurry in here. They have a word for hot dog. That's funny. Hurry. Okay. So we have our hurry here. Hurry away, hurry. He hurries, hurry up. He is hurrying. There's a lot of words for hurry. So I guess we just have to grab one. So I'm assuming since this is at the top. Utquari ha. Okay, let's do this. Utquari ha. Utquari ha. Utquari ha. Utquari ha. Yeah. Utquarihana, and then new. Let's go with new. Newt. Yep. Quarihana. Hana. Hana. And the perfective present. I would have to go back and look at that up. I'll leave that blank for now. Then we need to look up the word for then. Then, so we have, so Hesna. It's going to have an accent on the E. Hesna. And then it's going to be a and this is extended. Hesna. Tell you ante. And then we're going to do cool. I. Whenever you see, whenever you is in the subject form of the first position, like I hit you, and you is that part where the I is the first position sentence, it'll be an S at the beginning. But whenever it becomes an object, like I hit you, the you and the I hit you is going to become this I. That's one of the irregularities of the pronoun system. And then this one is Howie. Hey, Howie. Howie. Hafe. I'm not sure if we got to do that or not. But Hawith. And then, in the meantime, let's see, meantime. Okay, it's not in here, it's in the other, it must be in the other side. And sometimes you can only find stuff on the Tuscarora side, and the English isn't there. So you have to like, in the on the English side they don't have Tuscarora word, so you have to go back to this side, like with this for example. This is a truly rich dictionary. Usually you can find what you're looking for. Okay, so let's choose one of these here. So we got two ways, present and past. It will like in the meantime. What do you want in the meantime? That means present. Okay, so we're gonna choose this one. So that would be twa. Okay, twa. Twa, twa u, twa u, tia, tiati, tiati. Okay, twa. Yeah, twa u, twa u, tiati, twa tiati. Hesna, Hesna. Yeah, Hesna. Te, te uyair. Yeah, te uyair and. Ekuyahawith Tawa'u Tiati. Okay, that is a good idea. That okay. This is Kana. That I always forget how to say it. Like I said, I haven't been studying. I've just been translating mostly because I want to have the whole course on, so I could just zoom through the course. That ha. That is Hanika. Let's do Hanika. So you do Hanika, and then we honestly could just get the word for. We can get the word for an idea, and then just add quast after it. Let's go look up idea. Give an idea. Have an idea. Give an idea. Have an idea. One gives me an idea. Tika. Ta. Tika. Alright, let's look up, let's go back and look up idea, or, how do you spell that again? Tika. Alright, so we're gonna go back and look up Tika. Alright, Tika. Oh, nice. Be nice to have that. Anyway, Tika. Tachi. Where? Should be over here somewhere. Besides Tika. Kind of surprised when I'm finding it over here. Clump. Interesting. Not finding that. It's kind of weird because I'm recognizing he got the idea. You have an. Oh, it had it. So that's what I'm saying. So T can't. They can't find it by itself. An idea. One gives me an idea. To have an idea. It's always part of these verbs. Stood much. Mind. Get the idea. Yeah, see, kind of difficult here with this specific word. Mind. Okay, so this is the word for mind. This is the root that's in the word for utikere. Utikere. Okay. You will mind me. Utikere. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and have this. We're just gonna mark it here for now because we may have to use this root to make something out of it. Utike. Utikere. So utikere. So now if we wanted to just use this root here, I mean, we can use this root tika because this is the root that means literally, as long as we put our vowels tika quast tika quaste. We may not even need to do that, honestly. Tika quast. What I am going to do, though, is at the end of this, and sometimes because these languages are not, there's not like a whole lot of text for them. If you're seeing this word coined in other similar words, it's like for example, have an idea, give an idea. It literally means have a mind, give a mind, right? If you see the word idea being used in contexts where the word mind is used, but the word idea is implied in the translation, then guess what? That root also means idea. So that's the logic I use a lot of the time because it makes sense. We got to get the goal is to get these translated. Obviously, being as accurate as possible is necessary, but we also have to squeeze the most that we can out of this, and then we should have this word already here, yeah, so we don't have to do this. Do you have? So let's just say here we go. The word for here, oh, it's there. Okay, there we go. Is there? Can there? All right, great. What kinds of drinks do you have? And then this one is going to be Saanethweki. Okay? Saaneth. Oh, no, not that one. Saanethweki. Okay. To Te'uyai, Kuya, huh? What kinds of local drinks do you have? Now, local, I'm not sure about that here. We've gotten this far so far, okay. Let me just save this. Alright, go back in to edit. Great. Now we're back in here again. And now there's two different ways we can do adjectives. We can, you know what? Let me go look up. Let me go look up an adjective guide I made for this. I haven't added to my Tuscarora grammar guide yet, but I do have adjectives. I should have either here or in a blog. No, okay. I'm gonna have to go to the blog and check, because I know I wrote something about. I did like a deep dive into the adjective system the other day, so we can look at how to properly do this. Alright. Imported. Because what I'm thinking is that we would say it import perfective, because import can also mean import in the perfective would mean to be imported, which would mean it is imported, which would mean, I mean, you could say that. So these are the closest thing on the root. So derived adjectives. Okay. These are the closest thing. Very productive now for creating nouns. Yeah. For complex adjectives. Silly. To be straight. I haven't cracked any of this stuff yet. Tuscarora. Stative verb roots. So these are just adjectives, but indefinite. Large bones to be active. I feel like stative verb roots are gonna have to be where we're gonna have to do it that way. Quest. is imported. All right, let me. It will be good. Has not taught. Okay. So you would take the you would add like a Now if it's like something that's like habitually happening, like an adjective that, habitually happens, then you would put that on there, but so for this one, he tries it on there. No. Alright, so we'll just look up the word. We can look up, we can basically say it is imported. So that's what we'll do. So if we could look up the word for import, we can look up the word for imported, which would simply be the past tense of import. Alright, so we need to look up. I don't even know if they got anything for that. If not, we'll just use the word exterior. Alright. It's not looking like it's going to be in here. Nope, it's not there. So I'm gonna have to go with hold on, I'm gonna have to do external or exterior. Back in here, look for exterior. Yeah, this is like the closest thing we got. So, off net, we'll just have to say that. We could say something like it came from afar, but I'm not sure on this day. Off net. Do we need to look up the word for or? Or, let's see, we'll look up the word for or, which is okay. 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 Okay, and then we can see if we can find a word for local. There may not be one though. Local. Alright, so we're just gonna use the word for here. I don't know, let's see if we can find it. I doubt it, but we'll see if we can find it. Local, nope. Nothing. Okay. So. So what we're going to have to do here is. Ir. Just have to do a U on this one. See, we can look up a translocative particle, so that will tell somebody if the drink is. I don't know. I'm not even sure if that's going to work for this. Could put a yeah. Yeah, we could. Poured it in there. Yeah, huh? Yeah, alright, too. Drinks that translocative drinks. I'm not really sure about this one. This one is like a very difficult one because there's no word for import. Where I'm not really sure how I would express local. I mean, you could say drinks from here or drinks that came from here. You know, you could say like, yeah, here drinks, their drinks. I'm not sure. There's different ways to say that, but like I said, we have to figure something out and then move. All right, then this one would be why you. And then we could look up the word for wine. The word for wine. I know they have a word for wine. There we go. Wacanti. Pierre liquor. They only got 2 words for liquor. Wow. Okay. Usne. Usne. Uhne kje. Tisne. Looks like I don't even know if this is right, but or we can say and uyayere ane. Drinks. Kayere ku. Kayant Kayatareku. Do we have the word for here in here? No. All right, I'm gonna go back and look up the word for here. Kaya Tareku. See, I know that Kaya is like something you would use for they. Like they came from here. And drinks. Here they came. So in the past tense of the perfective, well, this is in the perfective. Drinks that came from here. I'm not exactly sure about this one, but it's like instead of saying drinks, we'll just say beer. Pia hot net beers, our local beer. You can say beer that came from here. Waya, and we can always just say Waya Tareku. That might keep it simple. I really have to look up the words from here, because this Tareku means like come from, like drinks that come from here. Beer that comes from here. That's what I'm trying to say with this. And then we don't have that much left. And then bring back a bottle of beer for me. So no, this one would be Kahawi. This is gonna be fair. We don't even need anything for the imperative here. Glass, Kati. She, her, bring back. It's gonna be ya or ya. Don't even need the ending for the imperative. And then bring back. Okay. Upper back. Right. And then this is again, we're gonna need to do Atkare. Atkara. Aro. pattern with this. Nothing's. Back up. I could have sworn earlier I saw like verbs with back on it, but I'm not finding those now. Is there like give back? Bring back. I honestly don't even think. I don't think back is important here. Just finishing polishing up the parts. Yeah. Now I need to find the word for jest. Jest. It is jest. Oh. Chum. Okay, so. Chum. So just say that. Hold on. Yeah, John. Hold on. I know there's a word for water because we just had this. Awa. Awa. Che awa. Awa ni awa iska maka iska ka nethweki aras kan hawi. Any. See if there's a word for that. Any. All the languages have words for any, but. that means something. Tawete turns that into something. Anything turns that into any. And they also got that here too, because I've seen Aweni before in different places. That one's gonna be really hard to do. I don't want to just throw a T on there. It's just don't bring me wine. I don't want you to bring me wine. I mean, that should make sense from the context. And then the check. Why do I keep going to the screen? And we want to get the check. Alright, what about the bill? Do we have something like that? Because the bill and that'll be the same thing anyway. Okay. Gonna have to do. Let's see if we can find it on the Tuscarora side. Nope. Bill. Alright, let's see. Is there a receipt even? Because I mean, a receipt is what you would get after you paid. But I literally can't see a word for that. Grease grabbed. Receipt. Huh. Yeah, so we just have to go with this. Yun. So if you think Yun Nyata Wa Nyata Wa Waka. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and put hot on there to say that it's gonna happen there. And then to O, that should be pretty simple to find. I don't see why they wouldn't have that. There we go. I owe another, or you or another owe me. Atkarut. So Atkarut. Oh, that's that T part of the root. Yeah, it's part of the root. Okay. Atkarut. And I just wanted to put money on there, but I don't even think it says there here. Yeah, because this has an A, we're gonna have to put the ya there. So Kuyatkarut. We don't need that because it's not an example. Tekwane Kuyatkarut. How much do I owe you? We got our capital chair. Awesome. Don't. Okay. This one is like, this one's gonna need some extra review. Just water, please. change. Now the word change is going to be in the dictionary, but it's probably only going to be a verb. It changes, changeable. All right, let's look up change. See if we can find anything that's related to what we're trying to do. Invariable, untranslated. Changed his appearance. Exchange, exchange, or modify. Changeable. Okay. I'm not able to find anything like this, so we'll have to say it a different way. We're going to have to say something like monarchy. Uhuiste. Like there was, yeah. Uhuiste. Do you have change? I forgot we stopped. Oh, I always forget. See, this is what I'm saying. I need to study this thing already. Alright, here we go. The Kahuistan. Just trying to see. Do you have the money for that? It's kind of hard to do. Now, there is the purposive, which you but I'm not sure how I would attach that to a noun. That's more like for a verb. I would have to completely construct this. Do you have change? I would have to think about this like really hard. Cause like, do you have change $50? Like, do you have money $50? Do you have money $50? It's like doesn't really make sense. Now, if I did like, do you have, and then I added like the purposes, like, do you have for the purpose of, then do you have like, do you have for the purpose of, and then I could put the money there, but I would have to go and look up the purposive, which is a whole different thing here. So let's see. Because if you're giving me money for a purpose, that would make sense, right? We're already in it. Purposive. So we have all these different things. Huther. Yeah, Huther. Huthara. Oh, huh. Wait. Hey. Okay. I'm not even sure what the, the basic forms are. The fact that someone's about to do something. Is going to. For some reason, I thought this was like. For some kind of purpose. This is like about to happen.